Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. Today is August 24th. I've already covered one anniversary today, which is one of the early victims of Dr. Louisa, aka Louise, aka Lucy Hagenow. So you can follow the link to that below. But the other story I have today is kind of mysterious. Not in that the mother chose to arrange an abortion for her daughter, but who she chose as the abortionist. It's really bewildering. So, on August 25th of 1955, the body of a young woman identified as Shirley Silver lay in the morgue in Philadelphia, where it had been brought the previous day from the North Philadelphia apartment of 49-year-old bartender Milton Schwartz and his 42-year-old beautician wife, Rosalie. They said that the young woman had suddenly taken ill and collapsed while just sitting on their living room. But when machinations began to try to remove the woman's body from the morgue without an autopsy, Detective Nathan Smith stepped in. He wanted to know who this woman was and how she died. And when her identity was revealed, a scandal rocked the city. The dead woman was Doris Jean Silver Ostreicher, a 22-year-old heiress. Doris's father, Herman Silver, was vice president of the food fair stores. Her uncle, Samuel Friedland of Miami Beach, was founder and chairman of the board of the chain. Doris had not just collapsed on the sofa for some mysterious reason. Her lung had collapsed when punctured by an instrument used in an attempted abortion. Doris had been about 6 weeks pregnant and had likely died within minutes. So, who exactly was Doris? Her father, Herman Silver, had been born in New York City. He started out working in factories and stores before he took up the more lucrative career of food distribution. Gertrude was the daughter of a central Pennsylvania merchant. She married Milton, and her sister, Hattie Klein, married Samuel Friedland. So both young women improved their lots considerably. Milton and Gertrude settled in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for a while. Doris Jean was born there in 1932 and her brother Benjamin 2 years later. Then the couple moved to Philadelphia. And they didn't live ostentatiously. The children attended Cheltenham High School. Doris briefly attended the Bessie V. Hicks School of Dramatic Art. And when he graduated, Benjamin went to work for their father. Now, it wasn't until the spring of 1955 that the Silver family started to display their wealth, moving into a mansion in a Melrose Park neighborhood. Milton owned more than 28,000 shares of stock in Food Fair with an estimated net worth of $2 million, over $23 million in 2024 dollars. So, the Silver family really seemed to have a golden life. Now, Doris first made front page news when she eloped in a fairy tale romance with Earl Ostreicher, a 29-year-old motorcycle cop from Miami Beach. They had met in April of 1955. Doris was staying with her uncle, and Earl was patrolling when he saw Doris drive by. He pressed a friend to introduce him to the beautiful young woman. Earl was a Chicago native, son of the president of the Chicago Wood and Coal Company and his wife, Emma. He had attended engineering classes at Roosevelt College, but he dreamed of being a motorcycle cop. In 1953, he moved to Miami and fulfilled his dream, and he was evidently a very personable young man. He'd been runner-up as most courteous policeman in Florida in 1954. Earl said that he hadn't even known that his beautiful red-haired bride was wealthy. He said she told him that her father was a butcher and that she was working as a child's nurse in the Friedland home where she was staying. The pair met every night after Earl finished his shift at midnight. Doris would tell a desk sergeant where she wanted Earl to meet her, and they'd swing by and spend the evening together. So the couple ran away to Folkestone, Georgia on June 24th of 1955, just over the state line, to wed. But fairy tale romances don't always lead to fairy tale marriages, and within a few weeks, Doris evidently was disillusioned. She separated from her husband and returned to her family's home in Philadelphia. Now, Earl told his father that he expected the separation to be temporary. He said Doris had just gone to visit her parents because she was homesick. Now, in the meantime, Doris learned that her short-lived marriage had left her pregnant. She confided in her mother, 49-year-old Gertrude Silver, and Gertrude helped to arrange an abortion. Now, who were these abortionists? Okay, this was Philadelphia. Plenty of doctors. These family could afford to travel and go to New York. Plenty of doctors. But somehow these are the people that Doris's mother picked. Milton Schwartz had served in the Merchant Marine before becoming a bartender. He had married Rosalie Kirschner in October of 1934. The couple had honeymooned in Atlantic City, then returned to Philadelphia, where they settled in the neighborhood of North Franklin Street. Their first-floor apartment was, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, fitted out sumptuously, much to the surprise of their neighbors. They had lived there more than 10 years, but the neighbors didn't really know them well. Milton managed and tended a bar at the Cat and Fiddle Cafe, owned by a company that was managed by his stepfather, and Rosalie had been a beautician for more than 10 years at Hair Fashion Center. Now, each of them had petty crimes in their past. Milton Schwartz had been arrested in 1944 for stealing 2 bottles of whiskey and hitting a man with a club, and Rosalie had been arrested in 1940 for falsely stating that Milton was unemployed, thus receiving public assistance money. She pleaded guilty and made restitution. Now, it's likely that the two of them started getting abortion referrals through the bar and the beauty shop. Although I can't picture Doris going to that bar. Maybe she learned about the abortionist through Rosalie at the beauty shop. So Gertrude and her husband accompanied Doris to the Schwartz's house, and they perpetrated the abortion with some kind of instrument and what was described as a vegetable compound. Doris collapsed with her mother by her side. Dr. Samuel Manstein, who had an office across the street, was summoned, and he administered stimulants and attempted cardiac massage, but to no avail. Of course, she had a punctured lung, it turned out. There was no amount of cardiac massage that was going to fix that. Now, although Doris was originally brought to the morgue under a false name, her weeping father eventually did positively identify her. When the police searched the apartment, they found abortion instruments there, including syringes, medications, dry mustard, absorbent cotton, mineral oil, olive oil, and a metal tube that was believed to be the fatal instrument used in Doris's abortion. Doris's doctor said that he had cared for her for about 4 years and that she'd been in good health and had only ever needed treatment for minor ailments. So what was the legal fallout? It took just a minute for a Philadelphia grand jury to indict the Schwartzes for committing the abortion, conspiracy to commit abortion, abortion resulting in death, and perjury. The Schwartzes pleaded no contest to the charge of abortion resulting in death. Rosalie got a sentence of indeterminate length, and Milton was sentenced to 3 to 10 years. Both were paroled after only 11th month based on a pathetic letter from their grown son asking that his parents be freed in time for Christmas. Doris's mother was hospitalized for bereavement shock in the early days after her daughter's death. She was charged as an accessory. She pleaded no contest to a charge of accessory before the fact of abortion. She was fined and given a suspended sentence for her role in her daughter's death. George said that he considered the memory of how her daughter had died to be substantial punishment. So, I mean, it's not a mystery that this up-and-coming, upwardly mobile family would kind of want to erase all evidence of this brief marriage to a motorcycle cop. But again, it's mysterious why she chose a beautician and a bartender to do her daughter's abortion instead of going to a doctor, as about 90% of pre-legalization women did.